Hi, how are you? I'm Ranjit. Here is Z Ranjit. Today we are going to be doing some watercolor. A watercolor of a bird, the famous bird of Pollachi mountains and forests, the great pied hornbill. Okay, so we'll talk about watercolor for a while. We mix color pigments with water and apply on paper. Obviously, that's why it's called watercolor. Watercolor is generally transparent. The colors that we use in schools are not that transparent. We use poster colors. Poster colors are not transparent. It's also known as gouache and it's known as tempera. Those are opaque watercolors, which means if you have a drawing or you have applied a color and it's dry and you apply another coat on top, the coat gets covered up. So the color that you're using is opaque. As against watercolor, the transparent watercolor, where you are laying a diluted solution. The color is dissolved in water and you apply the color. As I am talking, you can be seeing some slides of the artworks that I have done, but you please listen to what I am saying as you are looking at these slides. Okay, we will go into the painting after I have explained this for a while, and hopefully we will wait for people to come in to watch this. So the transparent watercolor, you lay color over color and get the depth, meaning dark tone, and mixed colors, meaning if you are going to be applying a blue, it dries and you apply a yellow over that, where it overlays the blue, the yellow becomes a green. Likewise, the color mixing, red and yellow becomes orange, so on and so forth. So, in gouache or poster color or oil color or thick acrylic color, you can apply a color and hide it by applying another color on top. Meaning, you can have a dark color and you want a lighter color, you can apply a lighter color on top, or you can apply dark color, apply a light color and apply a dark color again. But in watercolor, you have to apply darker colors progressively on lighter colors, which means if you want a white area in watercolor, you will have to leave white area and paint rest of the lighter tone first. You may not be applying the complete paper, but in areas of a certain color, say you want a white, a yellow, an orange, a red and a violet. So you leave the white and apply the yellow and you go to the orange. After the yellow dries, you paint the orange leaving the yellow, and when the orange is also dry, you leave the orange, yellow and white and paint the crimson, and finally you paint the darkest violet and you complete the painting. As we are doing this, you will see there are not many colors in this painting, but still I'll try to demonstrate what I just told you. As you see in the paintings that the slideshow is showing, most of them are watercolors. There are some, apart from the drawings, there are some paintings which are poster color too. The peacock that you see or you have already seen, it has lighter color on top of darker color, which is not transparent watercolor, obviously. But most of the birds that you see, the smaller ones, you see that the progression is from lighter color to the darker color. shall we go to our painting? Please come. Well, this is the reference that I am going to be using. I would tell my students it's very necessary that we have a reference when we are going to be painting. We can do things from imagination, but is our imagination as vivid as we need to do a painting? Will we get the details right? Very difficult, even for an expert like me. It's very difficult. So it's always better to have a reference and stick to the reference. We can change things from there to add. We can delete, we can add things to what we see. But it's always better to have something right in front of you and then base your painting on that. And in watercolor, we have to be very precise about our drawing, because as I told you, we go from a light tone to a dark tone. We'll be leaving areas of light tones progressively. So if the drawing is not precise, leaving those areas is going to be very difficult. Now, do you see an egg shape out there? So I'm going to place that here. That's almost in the center of the paper. I'm going to leave this area with color. I'm going to do the bird out here, which is almost in the center. I take it from there to there and draw an egg shape. We draw as light as possible. I'm drawing slightly darker so that you can see, but we draw as light as possible. See, that is one wing, that is the other wing. Okay, so it goes like that, and there is a triangle out here. Can you see that triangle? The triangle goes and ends like that. That is the triangle. Can you see that? Okay, now we got the triangle. That's the stomach of the bird. Okay, that is the thigh of the bird. The branch is going like that. We don't have to be precise, but this connection has to be perfect. This connection has to be perfect. Now, here you see a curve which goes up to the beak. It starts almost from there. We make slight modification. We can erase it, but when we are erasing the handmade paper, the eraser has to be very soft. Like you don't rub too much. It has to be very soft because the surface is very delicate, and this goes and curves out like that. Again, I'll tell you, you have to be very soft with your drawing. Don't make it a very dark drawing. Let it be a very light drawing. I just heard that the male bird has a red eye and the female has a pale yellow eye. This has a pale yellow eye, I guess, yeah. Some art teachers say that an artist should not use eraser. I completely disagree with that statement. I would rather let my students use an eraser and get a good drawing than not to use an eraser and leave it as a bad drawing. Your drawing has to be precise. So take time to do a good drawing. That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm taking a lot of time to do a good drawing. Painting the eye precise is very, very important because that gives life to the painting. I am using a 4B pencil so that the drawing will be slightly dark so that the video can catch it. If I'm doing a painting for myself, not for a demo but for myself, I'd be using a HB pencil and I'll be drawing very, very light, very, very light. Get into that habit of using a very light touch when you're doing a drawing for watercolor painting. Doing a drawing for anything for that matter, the initial lines have to be very, very light. Okay, I think we have the basic drawing. Let me go into slightly better detailing. Here is where the white line is good. There's a little bit of yellow out there. Okay, so the lines are going like that. And there is a little bit of white jutting out from the other, and it goes like that and it ends here. Okay, it ends here. is the white here. I can see two thick feathers out there, and there is a black patch out there. Okay. I see that the drawing is not right. I am going to change the drawing a little bit. I prefer to take a lot of time doing the drawing right than to come to a certain stage where I find that the drawing has gone wrong. No, I wouldn't like that. So I am taking enough time to paint, to do the drawing right. I think that's better. The dark drawing is disturbing me, but I had to do it because this is a demo. You have to see what I'm drawing, so I had to do that. Still, I'm not happy with the beak. So this is fun, no doubt this is fun, but this is serious fun. We approach this boldly. We come up with an idea of doing something, and we don't have to be afraid that it will go wrong. What happens if it goes wrong? We just throw the paper away and then start all over again. Once we know the technique and the methodology, the work will come out all right, for sure. But the work has to come out all right. Till then, we will try. That's where the patience and perseverance come in. There is a certain character to the wings of this bird that we have to capture right. Okay, so the next step is going to be, we will paint the background. Just to make the background interesting, I'm doing these things. These things will come in handy later. So what we do is we take cobalt blue. My palette is already dirty with colors. Yeah, it's not they're not clean colors. I have mixed a lot. I'm going to take a little bit of green, here. I'll need a green yellow patch somewhere. Let me look for that later. A little bit of burnt sienna. Cobalt blue and burnt sienna are very important colors when we are doing the sky. They give it a very natural look. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a technique called wet on wet, where I'm going to have a wet paper and I'm going to spread colors on wet paper. But before that, I'll have to mix my colors. These are called wash. I'll have to mix my color so that I can go straight away, dip into the color and paint, rather than to be mixing the color after I wet the paper. Okay, I'm going to wet the paper now. I'm going to leave the areas that, some of the areas are going to be green, so I'm not very particular about cleaning the brush very much. As you can see, there is a lot of water. I usually prefer to have light from there so that I can see where I have wet the paper, where I have not wet the paper. Like, that's much more important. So that my painting doesn't get a wrong setup. Because the water is slightly tinted, I'm able to see the color properly. I don't know if you can see it, but I am able to see it. I have to be very, very careful. I have done this kind of painting several times. I'm able to run through it very fast. But what you will have to do is you'll have to take time. You can't have the fan on. You'll have to switch off the fan so that the water that you're applying doesn't dry off halfway through. It has to be wet when you're applying the blues. When you're applying the background colors, this has to be wet. So you cannot have the fan on. If you have an AC, it's okay. But if you have the fan, you'll have to switch off the fan. You have to be precise, huh? You have to be very precise. Or else you'll lose the drawing. I am being fast and precise. Hope so. It's only when I apply the darker tone will I know how precise I have been. Colors have come in, as you can see. Water has come in that area. Now I am going to lay the colors. Now do you see why the wash has to be ready before wetting the paper? If the wash is not ready, the paper is already getting dry. I'm the fan of it. See, I had the fan on, thinking that it won't be that powerful, but no, I was wrong. The paper is getting dry. Okay, the conversation stopped because it's become difficult. The paper has dried up and I'm finding it difficult to handle the dried up area. This is the reason why we do the background first. Uh, the background seems to be secondary. No, it's not. Any object that you see always has a background. Even a deliberately white surface which is holding an object, say for advertisement purposes or whatever, the white is the background. So without a background, you don't have any object that can be seen. And if you make a mistake in painting the background, your painting is gone. The subject can be very beautifully handled, and as you are painting, you concentrate on the subject, and when you come to the background, if you are going to be in a hurry, your work is complete and you want to see the result and you paint the background in a hurry, your subject is ruined. So that's the reason why I start with the background, and I ask my students to start with the background, do the background right, and so I'm getting my wife's help a lot. My son is actually doing the shooting, and my wife is patiently watching. Okay, now we want this to dry for a while. See, I don't have the time, I don't have the luxury of waiting for this to dry completely before I go to the next layer. But that is the method. You have to wait till the first layer dries before you go to the second layer, or else you're going to have a lot of trouble trying to get what you want to get.
A lot of people are saying hi.
Hi guys.
George David, M. Abby,
Oh, okay.
Kirtana Balaji,
Hi Kiba. So how is it going?
Janni Divakar says, this is therapeutic, so much nostalgia. Ramachandran Iyer says hi.
Hi guys. I am getting a bit tensed up because A3 size paper, and it's khadi paper, and I have the fan on. It's very hot today here, and I didn't expect it to dry so fast. It is drying pretty fast, as you can see. Like it looks like puppet. But let's not lose heart. I am going to go for the main painting. I don't think I can wait anymore. Anymore.
Sao2906 says hi, sir.
Hi. Listen, guys, we'll have a question and answer session after this is over. I think I'm not going to go into that much of detail, but some detailing is going to be there. So as soon as this is over, we'll have question and answer. But art, please, art only. And now I'm going to go for the beak. That area is dry. If it is very wet, if there is light coming from here, if it's very wet, you lift it and see, it will shine. It will shine if that is wet, obviously. But when it is damp, if you touch it, it will be cold. If the surface is still damp, it will be cold. The surface might dry, but the paper inside could be wet. That you can't feel by keeping your hand like that. You let keep your hand, that is much more sensitive than this area. So you keep your hand like that and check whether it's dry or not. You check here and you check there, you'll see it's colder. You have to wait till it is completely dry. I don't have the luxury to do that. So I am going to jump in to paint the beak. As beak has yellows, oranges, yellow ochre, red and a little bit of brown. Okay, so we can play around with that. There is a little bit of yellow out here. I don't know if you saw the painting that I did of great Indian hornbill, where it's flying. That had yellow on the, quite a lot of yellow on the wing. I don't know, like that's what I remember seeing. Okay, now. Now I'm going to take the brightest yellow. Once again, I'd like to tell you, please wait till everything dries. I can do this and try not to have a blunder, but it's going to be very difficult for you. So get into the habit of waiting till it dries. I'm sorry, like I'm not able to have a conversation with you and the painting going on at the same time. There is a reflection of the sky, meaning the strong light is falling on that spot on the beak, that spot on the beak. So I'm going to leave that and paint it here. Okay. I'm going for a little bit of not all this. Okay, I'm going to have, oh, that's bleeding. A little bit of orange out there and a lot of orange out here. I'm going to dirty the red a little bit and the yellows a little bit, so that these areas have those colors there. I'll have to wait till this area dries. Of course, those who have been in my class know the sudden silence that falls when the painting is not easy to handle. Yeah, we do that, don't we? That's exactly what I'm going through. That's exactly what I'm going through. But let's hope that it gets completed well. Okay. Okay, now the low beak is little bit of yellow at the tip. The colors are very very clean. Little bit of yellow at the tip. This paper generally doesn't bleed, but today it's bleeding. I don't know why. Bleeding in the sense it's soaking up color and the colors are moving in. I don't know why. I'll have to manage with it. I don't know if I'm going to do it in this session. Okay. Sort of managed to retain a little bit of white out there and to define the bottom of the beak. Now that area has not come out well. We'll have to manage somehow. Okay, the back of the neck has a bright yellow. It's almost lemon yellow, but I'm not going to use lemon yellow. I'm going to use a chrome yellow light and give it a little bit of shading like that, and some shading here. I don't think I should have done that. No, I shouldn't have done that. I should have waited for the completion of the painting. Okay, now we'll go for the eye. And the eye is pale yellow. Well, Kirtana Balaji, you just told me that the female of the species has yellow eyes and the male has red eyes, and this seems to have a yellow eye. Okay, and the yellow of the eye, it has to be pale yellow, but I'm going to make it slightly deeper so that it looks interesting. That's much more important for us than the authenticity, unfortunately. But I'm going to go in for a little bit of cobalt blue. And we will paint the shadow areas of the wings. Okay. Where is the blue? We know that the wing area, now this area is black, but it is reflecting a lot of the sky, and it has blues in it, pale blues, grayish blues in it. So we'll have to paint that to get the authentic color. We will leave some white areas where there is the white stripe and paint that area blue. Hope it doesn't bleed in. No, it's not bleeding in. Thank God for that. Okay. Now that can be painted like that. I really don't know if I can complete the painting as much as I would want to complete, but I am going to get a good resemblance of the painting, and I'll tell you how to complete it. Maybe in the next session I will complete it and post it. Let me try as much as possible. Now that's getting dried. Let me go to the branches. So how do we handle the branches? We don't have to do exactly what we see. We can manipulate a little bit. I don't want to touch that palette because that's a clean palette. Now all clean colors. We might need those colors for later. So I'm going to go in. Okay. I'm starting from here. The light is coming from above. So I am going to paint that I went to use a thirsty brush. A thirsty brush is you wet the brush, you squeeze off the water, now it's damp. And when it's damp, if you keep the brush, it will suck off the water. So that's why we call it thirsty brush. So I'm going to use a thirsty brush and take off some color from there and give it the light and shade effect, which is very, very vital for a three-dimensional painting. Three-dimensional look comes out of this. That will be a shadow area. That will be a shadow area. I think the whole area is going to be in the shadows. No, let me make it slightly darker. See, the wet on wet is catching on. Kenapa banyak tired aja make? இது லேச செஞ்சுட்டு தான் விட்டாங்கன்னு ஒரு பிடிக்கல பிடிக்கட்டுமாம்மா கஷ்டம்ன்றியா Now, do you see why the drawing was very, very important? Drawing has to be precise. Because when you're doing this, you're going to be doing it in a hurry. You don't have time to think if the drawing is right, should it move there or here. You just follow your drawing. You trust what you had done earlier and you keep moving on, you know. I'm waiting for the colors on the bird to dry so that I can go for the second round. God, yes. But I don't want to waste the time. I would prefer to sit idle and watch the painting dry. But we don't have the luxury of doing that here. So we are just pushing on. But generally it is a good idea to wait. And we can't wait here. I'm trying to be as casual as possible with the branches and all, but it doesn't seem to work that way. It is taking a lot of detail, you know. Okay, yeah, it's almost dry. Now I'm going to be using a technique called dry brush technique, where I don't load the brush, but what I do is I take just enough color so that the color will stick on the paper, but will not form a puddle. See, can you see? And I use a thirsty brush and smoothen it off. Okay, now let me go down here and do a little bit of trick up there. Okay, so far? Yes, sir. Okay. We'll go into the shadow areas later. Now we are not going to be using black. What we are going to be using is a mixture of blue, which is Prussian blue. Prussian blue is a very strong blue, stronger than cobalt blue. We're going to get a mixture of Prussian blue and burnt sienna and make it look like black. Let me see which brush to use. Okay. I'm going to take a little bit of red. Somewhere there. Okay, now I got the color. Let's see. We'll start with the wing that's almost hidden. Why I don't use black is because black tends to dirty the other colors. So if at all you have to use black, you will use black only towards the end of the painting. I might use black, but I'm not sure. Okay.
There's only
What type?
it's going to be an hour.
It is going to be an hour.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just finish it. Okay, guys, I'm sorry. Like it's taken a lot more time than I thought. I'll complete it as fast as possible. And whatever I'm not able to complete, I will complete and post it on Facebook or whatever else we plan to see in. Okay, so that is the eye. Okay, and that is the hooded part of the eye, and I'm going to go in for that. Let me at least finish the beak and the head.
Seconds more.
10 seconds more. But do we have to complete in 1 hour?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. So,
Your life.
okay. Okay, guys, I'm sorry. Like, I thought I'll be able to complete this in 1 hour. It is still going on, and kindly bear with me. And I should thank the Pollachi Paperas people, Kirtana Balaji and Praveen, for allowing me to go on air again, online again. Huh? Okay, so what we are doing now is, now that we have got a new lease of life, we are going to use a little bit of water and pull out colors to get dimension. We can add depth. As I told you, you can't apply light color over dark color, but applying dark color over light color, we don't have limitations. No, we don't have much limitations. watercolor tends to dry lighter than what we apply. Okay, so we have to be slightly darker than what we want. That comes with experience. There is no formula. As I constantly say, there are no formulas with watercolor. You will have to have your own set of value scales and colors. I am going into the wing area. Let me go to the tail feathers first. Okay. It has to be cooler, not warmer. Okay. As I told you earlier, this is not a flat black area. The light is caught by the feathers and they reflect the sky. So you can't have a flat black. Now I think we have the luxury of, if you guys are going to be with me, we have the luxury of completing this painting, at least the bird area, we can complete it. Okay. I'll come to that later. எவ்வளோ ஃபாஸ்ட்டாக முடிச்சிடுறேன்ப்பா. ஓகே ஓகே. That is the black line, and the line comes, no, that is the black line, that is the black line. Suddenly I am not able to see the lines properly because the colors have become dark out there. trying to complete it as fast as possible so that I can have a question and answer session too. I hope we have time for that. Okay, let me do the clause and we'll go for the question and answer session. I know we have so much more to do, but this is a good beginning. We can get together often like this and do a lot of work together. Okay, I think that should be enough. What do you say, Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me sign. Okay, of course you would like to see my signature. Uh, 090520. Okay, guys. Thank you. I hope that's enough. Let me have the flower put up there slightly. Yeah, that should be enough. Okay, Steve, you want to sit there? Do we have questions?
You can ask them to ask questions.
Well, if there are any questions.
Sway Car says, lovely watching you paint, sir.
So nice to have had this session. You want to know anything about what I have done? Or anyway, anything else?
Sao2906 is asking, what green did you use?
I used sap green. I usually use sap green. I use sap green. If I don't have sap green, I would go in for yellow ochre and cobalt blue, or yellow ochre and Prussian blue. I very rarely use viridian green. Viridian green is a very acid green. To break it up is very difficult. So sap green is the green that I used.
Kirtana Balaji says, dibs on this, sir.
No, I didn't get that. What?
She wants the painting.
Oh, you want the painting? Of course, yes, Kirtana. Kiba as Kirtana Balaji, so she used to sign Kiba. Like that. Definitely, yes. This I'll reserve for you. I'll complete it a little more and give it to you. Okay?
Okay. More questions?
Do you still use Himalaya shampoo?
Okay, guys, then.
Praveen Shanmuganandanam asks, can you take us through some of your works and speak about it, sir? We did it in the beginning.
We did it in the beginning. but the difficulty would be for me to see what painting that you are looking at. One or two maybe, yes. But I don't have the step by step in my hand. What you can do is you can go to my Facebook page, and I have my paintings, many of my paintings are done step by step, 3 steps, 4 steps, so on and so forth. If you have any queries, you can just send me a query, and then I can answer you there. Yeah? How about that?
People want to see the picture again.
Okay. Should I show it like this?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay?
Shiv Murli says we miss you.
Yeah, I miss you guys. I think once this terrible thing is over, the lockout is over, we should all get together and have a bash up, right?
Okay.
Okay then, thank you, good night. Thank you, Kirtana. Thank you, Praveen. And thank you, guys. Thank you, Steve.